When we release pain, we become visible to each other.
Hi everyone, welcome to Priority Holder, and today we'll be playing Eldrazi Midrange in the Timeless format. Now this deck shares a similar shell with like my Color Super Friends deck in that it's built around Ugin's Labyrinth, that if we tuck a colorless card of mana value 7 under it, it taps for 2 mana. And so the classic thing to pair with that is Devourer of Destiny, which if it's in your opening hand can act like a Once Upon a Time variant. It's very, very powerful. And it could tuck itself under Ugin's Labyrinth. The other thing we're running is Nulldrifter, as just have more like a higher density of things to tuck under Ugin's Labyrinth. And like one of the best things you can do with an early Ugin's Labyrinth is to Chalice on 1. That just locks out plenty of decks in the format. It makes their lives pretty difficult, and we can be built to be not affected at all by that. And so that's just a really strong play. Absolutely love this card and the anguish it brings to my opponents. We're also running Powerhouse like Kozilek's Command, which you can pour a bunch of excess mana into to get tons of value. And it that heralds the end can discount like our Devourers and Nulldrifters, and it's like an Eldrazi Lord, so it does a little bit of everything. Also running a classic Matter Reshaper that has a nice little death trigger. Eldrazi Linebreaker can just shell out tons of damage by granting like a +X+O and haste trigger at the beginning of each combat. So like you can really, really surprise kill people. I just love Thought-Knot Seer. Like I've been fond of Eldrazi for a long time, so happy to play it here. Enters and makes them exile a card, so just a classic Eldrazi mid-range card. And we're also running Sowing Mycospawn that has like a cast trigger and can also kick it to exile land. So we're running like a miniature like lands package. So we do have like Field of the Dead, Mutavault, Field of Ruins. So like there's a few like interesting targets you can fetch up, as well as like Cavern of Souls to make things work, and also produce colorless mana. So let's get into some games. This seems like a reasonable hand, especially with like double Devourer of Destiny. Like we'll be able to dig super deep and just set up the top card to be basically exactly what we want it to be. So yeah, I think it's definitely both worth using both of them. So found in Ugin's Labyrinth in the top 4, and we're gonna look at the bottom 4, and yeah, just keep Ugin's Labyrinth. So are exiling a lot of stuff away, but it seems worth it to be able to select that deep. Alright, turn 1 Ragavan from the opponent. And this is the power of finding an early Ugin's Labyrinth, which is why I think it was worth it to exile so many cards. Is now we already have Kozilek's Command X=1 up to deal with Ragavan. So we'll have to see what else the opponent's working with. Another red-white land attacking in. Did not do this on my turn because they could have like dashed out another Ragavan, for example. So waiting for them to attack and going to draw a card and get rid of Ragavan. Matter Reshaper. Given that the opponent's playing to the board, it seems like Matter Reshaper will be pretty good in this matchup. Alright, Unstable Amulet. So it becomes clear right now that we're playing against red-white energy. And draw a Field of Ruin. So have the green-blue source. Gonna just go ahead and play Sowing Mycospawn, which its cast trigger is gonna allow us to get another land. We'll take a point of damage though. So what I should grab right here is Cavern of Souls. I get a little greedy with that other Devourer in hand and grab Ugin's Labyrinth. The reason is we don't have red locked up for the Eldrazi Linebreaker yet. So that was just a mistake. Once again, I was just trying to turbo out mana, and it's at this point I realized like, oh snap, I actually don't have red mana yet. We do have Field of Ruin and a Mountain in our deck, so like we could get it. It's just going to take some time. So the opponent finds a Flage off Unstable Amulet, so they're just going to take down Sowing Mycospawn. We are perfectly happy with that because the opponent, like, them just playing like double Ocelot Pride plus Guide of Souls would have been like way worse for us there. So we'll happily take the Flage hit. And now we're going to get the Thought-Knot Seer them and happily grab that Static Prison. Don't really care about what else they have going on, and double spelling already feels amazing. So just some classic Eldrazi winter cards right here. Thought-Knot Seer plus Matter Reshaper. Alright, here comes Ocelot Pride. And Ragavan. And another Ocelot Pride. Okay, so basically survived, you know, the opponent basically did one turn too late, because now we have some just beefy creatures in play. So we're going to attack in with Thought-Knot Seer and can already just hardcast a Nulldrifter. So that's the upside of the Sowing Mycospawn play from before, is having so much mana. And we find the Cavern, so sort of got bailed out from that sort of misplay earlier ended up working out pretty well for us. So triple Ocelot Pride into High Noon, which maybe is like show and tell, anti-show and tell tech. But they really can't do anything against us. So once again, we're under High Noon, so we can't play Thought-Knot Seer, which I'm realizing right now. But we do have the Eldrazi Linebreaker, so we're just going to give its trigger to Nulldrifter because of that Annihilator 1. Just gonna make them lose some materials, and yeah, they just bail on the amulet. They don't have a source of energy right now and can't activate it, so. Now we do have to worry about giving them too much fodder to like, so that they eventually activate Flage. So there's Guide of Souls. But the opponent's in like massive trouble here. Like they're basically just dead, I think, off the Linebreaker trigger. So yeah, I'm just gonna return that and they're dead. So if you'd like seeing energy got, then please Elder Deep Fiend the like button, and we're on to the next one. And all right, Leyline from the opponent means that we're playing against Show and Tell. So they're gonna shock that land in. We have one Devourer trigger. Gonna grab Ugin's Labyrinth. Like, obviously we'll have Chalice of the Void, but like, I don't know, just getting that mana acceleration seems really important right now. So, question is, do we tuck Devourer or Nulldrifter? I decided to tuck Nulldrifter because we just need to get the opponent dead, and like doing like 4/4 and drawing card, like it'd be much better to play like a huge Devourer and just try and shell out some damage. So we do draw a Chalice, which is not at its most potent against Show and Tell, but like it still can annoy them though. So we're gonna attempt a Chalice on one, and the opponent's gonna brainstorm in response. So it's gonna shut down Thoughtseizes, brainstorms. The opponent's also playing Considered, so it should help a little. Alright, so the opponent plays a tap land and passes. So Thought-Knot Seer doesn't really do anything here, but we're not getting rid of that enchantment anytime soon. So honestly, I should just slam Thought-Knot Seer here just as like a bigger source of damage. I end up playing Matter Reshaper though. Alright, opponent passes without doing anything again. Once again, I'm always getting turn 3'd by Show and Tell, so or even turn 2'd. So this is shocking that I'm not dead right now. So gonna play the Thought-Knot Seer right now and just keep attacking them, I guess. But it seems the opponent has just gotten really unlucky, and maybe we're locking out like a bunch. Maybe this one plays a bunch of like 1-mana selection spells that we're just chalicing out right now. So we're gonna play Linebreaker, and I hesitate here and do some math because like we can add one more Eldrazi with this tiny Kozilek command, but that's gonna put them down to 1 life. So I decided like, okay, it's not worth it. We can deal a lot of damage here, but we can't quite kill them. So we knock them to 2, and we're just gonna see if we can survive one more turn. So opponent's gonna Dark Ritual, which is gonna get Chaliced. I don't know if they're just showing us what they have or if they, anyway. And they pack it in. So a miracle win against Show and Tell, which is not a great matchup. Not as bad as Super Friends because we do have some Thought-Knot Seers, but it's still not great. So that was incredible winning that. This is really bad though. Dark Ritual into Sorin, Imperious Bloodlord. They're gonna minus and put Saint Elenda into play. This is an alchemy card that does a whole lot. It conjures a vampire, or like a card from its spellbook, which they happen to get a vampire. It's gonna gain them life and cause Saint Elenda to make another creature. So just a casual, you know, 1,000,000 power on the other side on turn 1. Now, had we been able to like turn 1 Chalice, for example, we would have slowed them down, but they still would have been really bad on turn 3. So yeah, we're basically dead. So we're just gonna pack it in. And this happens sometimes in Timeless, but yeah, the turn 1 Chalice might have bought us the time to like Thought-Knot Seer them, and then, you know, maybe could have gotten there. So it's, but them going first and doing all that means the game is already over. Maybe we went first, I don't know. Alright, next game. Swamp from the opponent, thinking about what they're going to do, and they are pitch casting a Grief. Always concerning when they make sure they have the mana source available, so we're waiting to see if they have like Not Dead After All or Malakir Rebirth. So they're going to take a Chalice from us and reanimate. And assuming take the other Chalice. Yeah, so they take the other Chalice. We get our Devourer trigger. Seems like just grabbing Ugin's Labyrinth is the plan. Just it'll accelerate our mana production, but our hand's looking not nearly as good as when we started the game. Grief will do that to you. So yeah, we just pass back to them. Would have loved to. Obviously, Chalice is amazing against their deck. So let's see what happens. Thought Seize. There goes our last spell. So we have a bunch of lands against a Grief. Alright, the opponent's going to play a tap land, crashing with Grief. So we need some action. That Heralds the End is not amazing, but it's not our best draw right now. We can at least cast it. Can't even block Grief because we need another creature in play. Troll of Khazad-dûm. So I'm bracing for impact here. Like, please don't reanimate that. Like, we're in big trouble. So opponent's using Troll. They grab their Swamp. And are they gonna kill? You know, I'd love it if they wasted removal on the Heralds the End. So Psychic Frog. Okay. All right. Sowing Mycospawn is pretty nice because that's gonna allow us to try and make something happen right here. So the question is what? So I have like a miniature package of things to fetch up with Sowing Mycospawn, including Field of the Dead, and yeah, so waiting to see what happens. Drannith Ruins, Blast Zone, Field of Ruin, and Mutavault, and decide that getting extra creatures right now is probably the most valuable, considering like a lot of stuff. But I think Mutavault is the strongest thing here, especially with that Herald's the End boosting it. And we're gonna pass right here. This seems like we might be stabilizing against that heavy hand disruption earlier on. So waiting to see what the opponent does. Psychic Frog gives you so many options that you can discard anything. So the opponent has Go for the Throat. It's going to cut down our Sowing Mycospawn. Now, unfortunately, we can turn Mutavault into a creature, but it'd just be a tapped creature. So, and if we block Psychic Frog here, they're just going to discard their card and kill our creature. So it sucks to let them draw. Like, you can see me agonizing about it here. Like, do I force them to pitch the card? But, you know, anyway, it's a tough situation. So they're going to pitch it anyway, and it's just a land they don't care about. So now they're going to draw off Psychic Frog. So we need something. We just have a land in hand, so opponents. Mutavault will help though. Alright, so they're gonna pass to us. Nulldrifter. And you can see that it's been reduced down to 6 because of that Heralds the End's ability. So I'm gonna go ahead and play Cavern right here and name Eldrazi. Now, one thing, you have to be careful with the auto tapper sometimes, because like there's some weird combinations where they need colorless and need colored mana. I'm going to attack in because we're not blocking either of the creatures with this. And Nulldrifter's going to be amazing. Like, it's going to be a 5/5 here, and it's a flyer to hold back Psychic Frog. Alright, so opponent's going to brainstorm in response to our Nulldrifter. Let's see what the opponent finds. But yeah, you just have to be really careful with the auto tapper and the weird colors cost, because you need to add colored mana to make them uncounterable, but some of them require colorless. So if you play this deck, just be very careful with your Cavern of Souls. And drawing some cards right there was so clutch off that Nulldrifter. So Grief's going to get in. Once again, we can't block it. But Devourer is super nice. It's going to allow us to eliminate one of their threats. The opponent has another Goy. And anything else? Bowmasters would be pretty tough for us. Alright, so they just pass. Alright, so that's it. And then maybe they still have Bowmasters. So and the question is what to do. Because we got, you know, they have a lot of threats, but we also have to kill them without giving them too much time. And you could see me agonizing for a while. Like, I really want to attack with Nulldrifter because of the Annihilator 1 trigger. So I decided, alright, let's do that. And force them to... Yeah, they're just going to sack a land, of course. So that's going to put them to 6. And we don't have enough mana to leave up Mutavault and use Devourer. So going to be a little careful with the auto tap right here before just slamming Devourer. So I have to like manually tap some of the things. I want to ensure that it gets uncounterable, but I also want to leave up the Mutavault, even though we can't use it. So going into Devour right here, I'm gonna get rid of Psychic Frog because that's the one that can like whammy us if it gained flying and like they pitch a card. Like, you know, we have to kill that one. Nethergoyf is bricked by our giant Devourer right now, and so the opponent is thinking over their options. And I'm hoping that like, we are so close, so I'm bracing for impact here. Like, all right, what do they have? The opponent crashes in with both. So I'm like, okay, well, basically just gonna use Devourer to block Nethergoyf and like hope that's enough. And it is enough. So got our hand completely shredded by blue-black like tempo mid-range and still pulled out that one. So that was an awesome win right there. Got another Devourer in hand. Feels good. So opponent is thinking about what they're going to do. Green-blue land from them. Okay, so Chalice. It's either Chalice or nothing because we only have 2 lands right now. And seeing a blue-green land over there is sort of already giving me like show and tell vibes. So I thought a long time about it and decided just to get rid of all of them. And we happened to rip an Ugin's Labyrinth. So like that was sort of what I was hoping to see on top, and we just happened to draw it anyway. So happy to do that, and we're just going to slam a turn 1 hit that heralds the end. And let's see what else the opponent does. Alright, Brainstorm. And once again, we wouldn't have been able to turn 1 Chalice because we had to choose between it and then we happened to blind draw the Labyrinth. So let's see what the opponent does. Fetching, Shocking, and Thoughtseize. Okay, so it's pretty clear we're fighting against Show and Tell right now. And they're taking Thought-Knot Seer. But we happen to rip a new Thought-Knot Seer, so that is really great. Just hoping that we can live long enough to use it, but that is still a pretty good draw. So have Kozilek's command up right now, and we just gotta hope they don't have the turn 3. All right, so there's Mystic Sanctuary, and okay, they're gonna pass to us. So just gonna fire off a baby Kozilek's command here just to try and get some value. Gonna create the Eldrazi spawn and draw a card, and it that Heralds End is gonna boost the Eldrazi spawn for whatever that's worth. Drannith Ruins. Don't think we need that right now, so we're gonna draw something out, and we just draw a land anyway, so that's okay. We have lands for a couple turns. Nulldrifter might be good later on, but so it is a little risky exposing like it that heralds the end to possible Bowmaster's combat or whatever, but just gonna slam Thought-Knot Seer with help of Cavern of Souls. Unfortunately though, the opponent has a Brainstorm, so this is gonna allow them to hide their most potent stuff from the Thought-Knot Seer, because it allows them to put 2 cards back on top. So that was really unfortunate, and we could see for certain that we're playing against Show and Tell. Who knows what they stashed on top, but they hid their best stuff from the Thought-Knot Seer. So definitely taking Assemble to the team. It seems like, you know, if the opponent had 1 Attracts in him, maybe we'd take that, but Assemble is a big problem as well. Alright, so opponent is going to Thoughtseize us and just take one of our Nulldrifters. So I'm hoping they just don't have it. They have an untapped Mystic Sanctuary now because they have enough islands. And we're just waiting to see what they're at. So we're gonna put Brainstorm on top. We have lethal on board right now if we can just survive, and they have the Show and Tell. I'm just like, oh no, dang it. So that's why Brainstorm, reason number 100 why Brainstorm is super strong. It can allow you to hide stuff from discard. So opponent's gonna Atraxa, and we're gonna look at their pile, and yeah, of course there's Omniscience and Show and Tell in the pile, and that's the power of Atraxa. Like, it's just an amazing Show and Tell drop if you don't have Omniscience. It can basically set it all up for you just like that. It looks at so many cards, so very strong. And despite all the power and toughness we have on board, like if we tacked in, the opponent blocks anything, they basically get a virtual 15 life. And so I'm mathing it out right here, like deciding, is an attack worth it right now? Like chump attacking something into it, and it is not worth it if you crunch the numbers. So have to just hold back. Would have loved to get an Annihilator trigger, but yeah, like it's looking pretty grim for us at this point. So opponent's going to show and tell, and we're most likely just dead right here, but I'm going to fight my hardest at this point. So Ugin's Labyrinth, the Devourer back to hand. Like, we would love to cast it and get rid of an Atraxa, but we just don't have enough mana, so just going to put it onto the battlefield. So opponents choosing what they have, and yeah, of course they slam Omniscience. So moving to accelerated speed here, so the opponent's going to lock in their life gain with the Atraxa, play their next Atraxa for free. Thought sees us to make sure the coast is clear, and just play some spells. So they're going to Brainstorm, crack their fetch, and then the Demonic Tutor is enough for me because I know that Mastermind's coming, and then that is it. So that was a tough one. It felt like we were close to getting there against Show and Tell, but we'll move on to the next one. Chalice in hand is really nice. So definitely going to lead with the Field of the Dead because it comes into play tapped. Unless we draw an Ugin's Labyrinth, then all of a sudden that completely changes the complexion of this hand. So gonna tuck Nulldrifter under it and just turn one Chalice for one. Now it is a blue-white land over there, so we could get like Spell Pierced right here. Nope, it works. So we'll have to see how potent this is against this opponent. Alright, red-blue land from them. And the opponent's gonna slam a Johnny. Pretty rough. So we could slam Matter Reshaper, but it seems better to leave up Kozilek's command. In case, like, let's say the opponent puts a Goblin Bombardment on the stack, then we can Kozilek's command away the cat to make sure they don't flip a Johnny, and then causes some big problems. So there's Fable of the Mirror Break. So there's the red permanent they need for a Johnny once it flips. I'm just going to pre-combat this Kozilek's command. So we're going to get rid of their cat token and trying to decide if we actually need the mana. I think we need the card more than the Eldrazi spawn right now. So going to get rid of their cat. And thankfully this exile, so it's not going to trigger a Johnny. Nulldrifter doesn't seem like what we want right here. We need like something a little bit cheaper to cast. Alright, so the opponent's going to crash in for 1 damage, but things are going pretty smoothly right now. Chalice on 1 like is really strong against energy. Like, it's going to stop Static Prison, Galvanic Discharge, Guide of Souls, Ocelot Pride. So like, we're going to see what it's stopping right now. And the opponent has 3 Static Prisons in hand. Yeah, I mean, we're just going to take one of them. I was trying to see if I can opt to not take any and just leave them all, but now the opponent is going to get to like rummage them away with Fable right here. So like, possibly find some more action. So opponent's attacking in. But yeah, let me know in the comments, like, what's your favorite like small to medium sized Eldrazi? Like, forget the Titans, like, what are your favorite little Eldrazi? So opponent attacks in to get the treasure. They cast the Ocelot Pride right into Chalice. I don't know if they forgot temporarily or if they're just like showing us they have, but considering they have running Fables, like, you want to keep cards in hand to pitch to it, you know. So seems like we're starting to gain control of this game. Now this is like what appears to be, I guess it's not clear this is an energy deck. It's like Jeskai Midrange. Well, no, we've seen Static Prisons, never mind. So it is energy deck. And there's the Galvanic Discharge. So also gets got by Chalice. So I don't know if the opponent is just, you know, raging at like why are their spells just getting auto countered. I don't know what's going on, or if they're just showing us what they have. Like I said, better to hold on to them and pitch them to future Fables. So they flip Fable, and opponent happened to actually rip a really strong draw because that's going to fulfill a Johnny's requirement of a cat dying. It's going to turn into a Planeswalker, and they have a red permanent, so we're sitting pretty, then all of a sudden we're facing the wrath of the Ajani Planeswalker. So that's going to kill our Linebreaker and give the opponent some stats on the other side. Fortunately for us, we have another Linebreaker. So I'm just trying to decide what the best course of action is, because the Ajani is just super dangerous. We definitely want it dead. So once again, making sure like we don't get color screwed or something like that with our weird mana base. So play Linebreaker, and it has trample, so we're going to give its trigger to itself, because it's going to be a 6-power trampler going at Ajani. So they could save Ajani, but it would kill every single one of their creatures. And so we do take down Ajani, and feeling much better about that, though Fable, you know, Reflection of Kiki Jiki is always a dangerous card. So alright, so opponent's going to make another cat token, and let's see what they do. And they're just going to send in, so I don't know if this is like just a super bold move from the opponent, or if it's like a I'm gonna lose, I'm just sending in everything. Alright, they're gonna, that Galvanic Discharge surely was just to show us that they had it. So, and yeah, now we have like 1,000,000 power, so we can just play Matter Reshaper, and once the Linebreaker trigger goes off, we're gonna crash in for like 1,000,000 damage. So we take down this Jeskai energy deck. Feeling pretty good. Well, that was super fun. Like, I really love Eldrazi strategies. Like I said, Thought-Knot Seer is probably my favorite Eldrazi, though Reality Smasher's up there also. And just being able to chalice people like is incredibly satisfying, and like just a fun way to attack the metagame. And contrasting this to like my Color Super Friends deck, this can also lock people out. Like the other one deals with people going wide very well with like Ugin and stuff like that, whereas this has like a faster clock and like more beef, and can leverage Cavern of Souls really well against people. So like they're different flavors that are somewhat related to each other, but it's interesting because these are sort of like all sort of disparate effects that are not like really interrelated, but they all sort of work together. Like, I don't know quite how to explain it, but like, you know, this granting haste helps, and this can make 1,000,000 creatures to pump that up, and like it all sort of just weaves together and it sort of works. Would be nice if we had some like better options at the lower end of the curve for Eldrazi. Like, we just don't have that many good ones. Like Eldrazi Mimic would be nice, but that's like really soft to Bowmasters, and you could see some other ones I've had some consideration for, but yeah, like Titan's Vanguard like would be really sweet. But like I said, like at the lower end of the curve, we don't have really that many good things to like really make this worth it. So also, like, the list is definitely not set in stone. Like, the amount of colored sources could definitely be tweaked and improved. Like, we do have to like hit our red and our green and our sometimes blue. So like, I think some of our pain lands is necessary, but remember, Cavern of Souls is carrying some weight there. And you could definitely swap out like the land package. Like, I feel pretty strongly about having Field of the Dead, like Mutavault, and a couple of those other ones, but there's like 1,000,000 utility lands you could improve, and depending on, you know, your greed, you can go skimping on some of these colored sources. But yeah, that's the deck. Thanks for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you want to see even more nonsense, please consider subscribing. And if you're already subscribed, thank you for your support. Your engagement with the channel helps me know what the people want. Thank you.